My dear friends, let me begin by asking you something very real. Have you ever felt that pinch in your heart when you send someone a message and they see it but don't respond? Or when you wave at someone and they look away pretending not to notice you? It stings, doesn't it? That moment feels small, but it can hurt deeply. But today, I want to share something beautiful, something that can change how you see these moments forever. Being ignored is not always an insult. Sometimes it's an invitation to meet the strongest version of yourself. Yes, my friends, every moment someone ignores you is an opportunity to discover who you truly are beneath the noise of ego, emotion, and expectation. Now, the first step to not reacting when someone ignores you is to understand human nature. You see, our mind is quick to take things personally. The moment someone doesn't reply, it starts its drama. Did I say something wrong? Did they stop caring? Am I not important anymore? We build stories faster than a Bollywood director writes his next film. And in most cases, those stories are pure imagination. Let's imagine this. You send your friend a message. They are online. You see the blue ticks. They even post a story of their coffee on Instagram. But your message remains unanswered. Instantly, your brain starts doing detective work. Oh no, maybe they're upset that I didn't wish them on their birthday last week. Maybe they found new friends. Maybe they don't care anymore. But the truth, my friends, is often much simpler. Sometimes people are just tired. Sometimes they're busy. Sometimes their mind is cluttered. And sometimes they're not ignoring you. They're just ignoring everyone. When a nurse doesn't reply instantly, it's not because she dislikes you, she might be saving a life. When a student doesn't answer your call, maybe they're sitting in an exam hall. When your husband doesn't respond to your text, perhaps he's driving through traffic. But what happens? Our ego doesn't accept such simple explanations. It whispers, no, they must be doing it to you on purpose. And before we know it, we fall into the trap of self-doubt and overthinking. To free yourself from that pain, remember this eternal truth. People's actions are reflections of their inner world, not your worth. Someone ignoring you doesn't mean you're unworthy. It only means they are human. And humans get distracted, busy, and sometimes emotionally unavailable. Tell me honestly, haven't you done the same? How many times have you opened a message, thought, I'll reply later, and then completely forgot? Now you're smiling, aren't you? Because you've done it too. So if you can do it, why can't others? When you truly understand this simple reality, life becomes lighter. You stop assuming everything is about you, and when you stop taking personally, peace walks right into your life. So next time someone ignores you, don't say, what's wrong with me? Say, maybe something's going on with them. That small change in thought can save you from hours of unnecessary pain. Another big reason we feel hurt when ignored is because we've unknowingly handed over the remote control of our emotions to other people. If they reply fast, we're happy. If they delay, we're anxious. If they never reply, we feel rejected. Do you see the danger? Your peace now depends on someone else's behavior. Imagine walking into a room, people smile, clap, greet you warmly, you feel amazing. The next day, you walk into the same room, but this time, nobody even looks up. You instantly feel small, invisible. But wait, what changed? Not you, only their response. Isn't it strange that your self-worth can fluctuate based on someone else's mood? Let me share a story. A teacher once held up a diamond and asked her students, if this diamond falls into the mud, does it lose its value? The children replied, no ma'am, it's still a diamond. She smiled and said, exactly. Your value doesn't depend on how people treat you. It depends on who you are. You, my friends, are that diamond. Even if someone ignores you, your sparkle remains the same. From childhood, we've been conditioned to seek validation. Parents smile when we do well. Teachers reward us with grades. Social media gives us likes and followers. And so, without realizing it, we start believing that our worth depends on others' approval. But the truth is, your worth is not negotiable. It doesn't rise with attention and it doesn't fall with silence. Think of the sun. Every morning, it rises shining with grace and warmth. Some wake up early to admire it. Some close their curtains. Some are too busy scrolling on their phones to notice it. But does the sun stop shining? Does it say, oh, only a few people admired me today, let me hide behind the clouds? No. The sun shines because shining is its nature, not because of applause. You too must learn to shine because it is your nature, not because others validate it. When someone ignores you, the first impulse is to react, to call again, to send another message, to ask, why are you doing this? But my friends, remember this. Your reaction gives them more power than their silence ever could. If a dog barks at the moon, does the moon bark back? No. The moon continues to shine, calm, unbothered, radiant. In the same way, when someone ignores you, the most powerful answer is not anger, it's calm silence. There's a story of a man whose neighbor insulted him daily. Every morning, that neighbor would throw garbage in front of his door. Yet, the man never reacted. One day, the neighbor mockingly asked, why don't you fight back? The man smiled and said, you give me garbage, but I have the choice whether to accept it or not. And I choose not to. My dear friends, that is the power of silence. Just because someone throws negativity at you doesn't mean you must pick it up. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. It says, my peace is too valuable to be disturbed by your noise. Even nature teaches us this. The forest doesn't argue with the storm. It simply stands still. And when the storm passes, the trees remain. Be like that firm, silent, peaceful. Let your silence speak of your dignity. When we feel ignored, our mind runs outward. Why are they ignoring me? What are they thinking? What did I do wrong? In doing so, we hand them the remote of our inner world. But what if instead we turned inward? What if we asked, what can I learn from this? A farmer plants seeds. Some sprout quickly, some take time, and some never grow. He can waste time staring at the barren land or focus on nurturing what's growing. Likewise, when someone ignores you, don't stare at their silence. Nurture your growth. Ask yourself, why does this hurt me? Is it because I crave attention? Is it because I'm afraid of rejection? Or is it because I expect too much from others? When you turn inward, you realize the pain of being ignored is not about them. It's about what's unhealed within you. A monk was once asked, why do people's actions not disturb you anymore? He smiled and said, because I no longer ask, why are they like this? I ask, why am I disturbed? You can't control others, but you can control your reaction. So next time someone ignores you, instead of waiting by the phone, ask, what can I do for myself right now? Read, reflect, meditate, grow. Their silence becomes your classroom. Now, sometimes being ignored once or twice is fine. People are busy. But when someone repeatedly ignores you, that's no longer about patience. That's about self-respect. Patience means giving time. Self-disrespect means allowing yourself to be treated as if you don't matter. There's a story of a man buying a rose. The shopkeeper said, sir, that one's dying. Take a fresh one. But the man replied, no, I'll keep this one alive. The shopkeeper smiled sadly. Sir, no matter how much water you pour, some roses are not meant to bloom. The same is true for people. No matter how much love you give, if they don't value you, they won't change. And the more you chase them, the more you drain yourself. Respecting yourself doesn't mean arrogance. It means knowing when to stop knocking on a closed door. Because every closed door is God's way of saying your energy is meant elsewhere. When you chase those who ignore you, you neglect those who value you. You miss the people quietly standing by your side, waiting for your attention. So walk away gracefully. Don't beg to be seen. A river never argues with a rock. It simply changes course and keeps flowing. Be that river, calm, flowing, and unstoppable. Deep down, the reason we hurt when ignored is that we crave validation. We all want to be seen, appreciated, understood. That's human. But the problem begins when our happiness becomes dependent on other people's approval. The one who chases validation will always remain thirsty because no one can fill that void for you. Today, they might cheer for you. Tomorrow, they might forget you. If your peace rises and falls with their approval, you will never find stability. Once a wise man walked into a marketplace carrying an empty bowl. People laughed and asked, "Why are you carrying an empty bowl?" He smiled and said, "Because many of you doing the same, walking through life with an empty bowl, waiting for others to fill it with love, attention, or praise. If your bowl is empty, you'll keep chasing people, begging for drops of validation. But if you fill your bowl yourself with gratitude, self-respect, and purpose, you won't need to beg for anyone's attention. Those who crave validation are easily controlled. If I know you desperately need my approval, I can manipulate you. But if you don't need it, you are free. Freedom is not when everyone likes you. Freedom is when you don't need everyone to like you. My dear friends, true strength is not in muscles, nor in medals. True strength is when you no longer need others to fuel your sense of worth. Look around in life. Every great soul who ever walked this earth carried this inner strength. Saints, sages, leaders, reformers, every one of them was at some point misunderstood. They were ignored, rejected, even ridiculed. But they didn't crumble under criticism. Why? Because their self-worth was not built on applause, it was built on purpose. Imagine if they had stopped every time the world turned away. Imagine if they had said, "No one appreciates me, so I'll quit." We would have been left in darkness, no light, no inspiration, no hope. Now let me ask you something from the heart. Have you ever ignored someone unintentionally? Maybe you were busy, maybe your mind was restless, maybe you simply forgot, and yet the other person might have thought, "They don't care about me anymore." Isn't it true? If that can happen with you, why can't it happen with others? This simple realization opens our eyes that constantly chasing validation is like chasing a mirage. Because people are human, sometimes they give attention, sometimes they withdraw it. So what's the solution? Stop chasing validation. Start cultivating self-validation. When you do something good, don't wait for someone to clap. Clap for yourself. When you learn, when you grow, when you progress, smile and whisper to your own heart, "I am proud of me." Because if you're empty within, no amount of outside approval will ever fill you. But if you're full within, even silence from the world cannot shake you. Remember this, a flower never begs the bees to come. It simply blooms and the bees arrive naturally. In the same way, when you focus on becoming your best self, the right people will naturally recognize your worth. But even if they don't, you still remain beautiful. You still remain whole. Stop chasing the noise of applause. Because, my friends, the same crowd that cheers you today may boo you tomorrow. But the applause that comes from your heart, that quiet voice that says, "I'm proud of how I handled that applause will echo forever." And that brings us to one of the greatest strengths you can ever develop, emotional intelligence. Now, what is it really? It's not how many degrees you hold or how many books you've read. It's not how sharp your mind is, but how calm your mind stays when life tests you. And tell me honestly, what greater test is there than being ignored? Because the moment someone ignores you, emotions rise like a storm. The mind shouts, "How dare they? Don't they know my value?" The heart whispers, "Maybe I'm not enough." And the ego says, "Call them again. Prove your worth. Don't let them win." Suddenly, there's a whole courtroom inside you. Your emotions are the lawyers, your ego is the judge, and your peace is the prisoner. Audience chuckles softly. But emotional intelligence teaches us something powerful: to pause, to breathe, to wait before reacting, because in that little pause lies your true freedom. There's a story I love. Once, a monk was insulted by a man in public. Everyone waited for the monk to respond, but he simply smiled and remained silent. Later, his students asked, "Master, why didn't you reply?" He said, "If someone offers you a gift and you don't accept it, who does it belong to?" They said, "It remains with the giver." The monk nodded gently. Exactly. His anger was his gift. I chose not to accept it. Friends, that is emotional intelligence, not letting someone else's behavior control your inner state. Because if someone ignores you and you explode with anger, who really suffers? They might not even notice, but you lose sleep, lose peace, and carry the weight of that moment for days. Emotional intelligence is simply saying, I will not drink the poison of overreaction. Now, that doesn't mean you suppress emotions. It doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you feel everything, but you choose how to respond. Sometimes the best response is silence. Sometimes it's patience. Sometimes it's simply walking away and redirecting your energy toward growth. Children throw tantrums when ignored. They cry, scream, and demand attention. But maturity means not letting that inner child control our actions. And the more you practice this, the more people will respect you. They will see that you are not easily shaken. You become like a mountain, steady, unmovable, serene. Always remember, reacting is easy. Anyone can react. But pausing before you respond, that is strength. That small space between stimulus and response, that's where your freedom lives. So, my friends, never hand over the keys of your emotions to someone else. Because if your happiness depends on their behavior, you'll always be their prisoner. But if your peace depends on your wisdom, you'll always be free. When someone ignores you, you face a simple choice. You can either pour your energy into chasing them, or you can redirect that same energy into people and places where it will grow. Think about it, your energy is like water. If you keep pouring water on a rock, nothing will bloom. But pour it into fertile soil and life springs forth. If you keep giving time, attention, and emotion to someone who repeatedly ignores you, you'll only feel dry and depleted. But if you redirect that energy to those who genuinely care, to your family, to your growth, your life will flourish. A man once told his teacher, I keep messaging my friend, but he never replies. I feel miserable. The teacher smiled and asked, how many messages have you sent? 20, said the man. The teacher laughed. And how many of those could you have written to your parents who long to hear from you? Or to a journal building your wisdom, or to someone who truly values your words? The man was silent. For the first time, he saw how much energy he had wasted knocking on a closed door. My dear friends, life is short. Don't waste your days begging for attention. Spend them giving love where it's received, time where it's valued, and energy where it bears fruit. And this doesn't apply only to people, it applies to your own growth. If someone ignores you, don't sit in self-pity. Pick up a book, take a walk, learn something new, pray, meditate, exercise. Do something that nourishes your mind, body, and soul. The best way to deal with being ignored is to become so busy improving yourself that you don't even notice it anymore. Look at the sun. It rises every morning without waiting for applause. Look at a tree. It grows quietly without seeking attention. They both simply fulfill their purpose. And that is what you must do. Keep growing. Keep shining. Keep giving. Remember this truth. Where attention goes, energy flows, and results show. If your attention goes to the one who ignores you, you will feel pain and emptiness. But if your attention goes to your growth, your peace, and your purpose, you will feel fulfillment and joy. Don't chase shadows, chase light. Don't invest your best in those who don't value it. Invest it in yourself. Because when you invest in yourself, you will never feel poor even if the whole world overlooks you. One of the heaviest burdens in life is holding grudges. When someone ignores us, The ego bleeds, the heart aches, and the mind keeps replaying the scene. Why did they treat me like that? Don't I matter? And before long, their silence has planted a seed of bitterness within us. But here's the truth, holding on to grudges chains only you. They sleep peacefully while you toss and turn, replaying every detail in your mind. Their action has ended, but your reaction continues. Forgiveness, my friends, is not doing them a favor. It is setting yourself free. Two monks were once walking together. At a riverbank, a woman was struggling to cross. One monk carried her across and continued walking. Hours later, the other monk burst out, "How could you carry her? We are monks." The first monk smiled, "Brother, I left her at the river hours ago. Why are you still carrying her in your mind?" How many people are you still carrying in your mind? Those who ignored you, those who made you feel invisible. Isn't it time to put them down? Forgiveness doesn't mean you approve of what they did. It means you refuse to let their behavior poison your heart any longer. If a snake bites you, will you chase the snake or heal the wound? If you chase the snake, the poison spreads. In the same way, resentment spreads within you. Forgiveness is the antidote. When you forgive, you reclaim your peace. You declare, my happiness doesn't depend on their attention. My peace doesn't depend on their validation. I let go. And when you let go, you walk lighter, smile brighter, and live freer. My dear friends, we began with a painful question, what do I do when someone ignores me? And the answer we found is simple yet profound. Being ignored is not the end, it's an invitation. An invitation to discover your inner strength. Sometimes people ignore you not because you're unworthy, but because they're distracted or blind to your value or simply not meant to walk your path. And that's okay, because your worth is not in their eyes, it is in your being. The sun doesn't stop shining because a few people close their curtains. The flower doesn't stop blooming because someone walks past without noticing. And you too must never stop shining because someone fails to see your light. Let silence be your strength. Let self-respect be your armor. Let forgiveness be your freedom. When you stop chasing validation, when you turn inward for peace, you become untouchable. So next time someone ignores you, don't lower yourself by reacting. Raise yourself by reflecting. Don't beg for attention. Respect yourself enough to keep glowing. Those who are meant for you will never need to be chased, and those who ignore you were never meant to dim your light. Live like the sunrise, shine, and keep giving light, whether people notice or not. Because your purpose is not to be seen. Your purpose is to shine. And when you shine, the right hearts, the right eyes, and the right souls will always find you. Pauses, smiles warmly at the audience. So, my dear friends, remember this forever. Never react when someone ignores you. Just rise, smile, and keep shining. My dear friends, life will always have moments where people ignore you. Friends, family, colleagues, even loved ones. But each of those moments carries a silent invitation. Come back home to yourself. Instead of reacting, reflect. Instead of chasing, cherish. Instead of shouting, shine. Remember, the sun doesn't stop rising because clouds hide it. The diamond doesn't lose its value because mud covers it. And you don't lose your worth because someone failed to see it. Silence doesn't mean defeat. It means you've outgrown the need to prove your value. Let people take their time. Let them walk away. Let them ignore you. Because in that very silence, you'll hear something profound, the sound of your own strength. So the next time someone ignores you, smile gently and say to yourself, I'm still shining, I'm still growing, and I'm still enough. Because the truth is you always were.